It was an ordinary afternoon, the kind of day that drifted by lazily, thick with the hum of routine. The classroom buzzed softly with the teacher's voice, a steady monotone of instructions. A girl sat near the window, her usual spot. The glass framed the outside world like a moving painting, more alive and unpredictable than any lecture on algebra or history. Outside, the schoolyard basked under the warm glow of mid-spring. The soccer field stretched wide under the afternoon sun, the ground dry and worn from countless games. Dotted with figures running, laughing, kicking up little clouds of dust as they chased after the ball. The girl let her eyes wander idly, more out of habit than curiosity, watching the familiar scene play out below. Then, her gaze landed on him. The boy was mid-laugh, his head tilted back, his features bright and animated. The wind tousled his blonde hair, making it shimmer faintly, and for a moment the world outside her window slowed. The girl blinked, startled, her breath hitching without warning. Something about him pulled at her. Maybe it was his smile. It was the kind of smile that made the edges of the world soften. Bright, open, completely unguarded. His expression lit up with such ease, as though joy came naturally to him, and for some reason that simple smile felt like a punch to her chest. Her heart, calm just moments before, began to thud rapidly against her chest. What? She pressed her palm lightly against her ribcage, frowning at herself. It was absurd. She didn't even know him. Since that day by the window, the girl couldn't help but notice him everywhere. Every time she saw him, her heart gave that same annoying, impossible little flutter. A crush. In the school hallway, she'd catch glimpses of him walking past. In the cafeteria, it happened again. Her eyes drifted, and there he was at the counter, ordering his meal. But it was the water fountain near the soccer field, the one tucked just off the path behind the bleachers, that quietly became her place. He loved soccer. Most days after class, he was out there on the field, running drills, chasing the ball, drenched in sunlight and determination. And after every practice, like clockwork, he'd end up at that water fountain. There he was, leaning over the fountain, taking a long drink, drops of water sliding down his jawline. Then, without thinking, he grabbed the hem of his shirt and lifted it to wipe his face. For a split second, the sun lit his exposed abdomen, lean and defined from endless soccer practice, and the girl's cheeks burned with sudden heat. Her heart skipped. A warm flush rushed to her cheeks before she could stop it, and she quickly looked away, mortified by how flustered she felt over something so simple. She couldn't deny it anymore. She had a crush on him. A real one, the kind that made her stomach flip over the smallest thing. But the reality? She barely knew anything about him. Just his name, Han Sung-yun. And that they're in same grade. One morning while walking in the hallway, she found him standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, sunlight spilling around him, casually talking with his friends. As she walked past, their voices drifted over. "I'm telling you, long flowing hair and fair skin, that's always pretty," one friend said. Sung-yun's voice followed, calm and certain. "It's prettier when it's tied up." His friends immediately teased him. "Since when do you care? Are you seeing someone?" The girl's heart skipped a beat. No way. Her grip tightened on the package she was holding, pulse racing as quiet hope flickered to life in her chest. The classroom buzzed with noise as students swept floors, wiped desks, and cleaned every nook and cranny. Tomorrow marked the start of summer vacation. The girl wiped the surface of her desk, her thoughts wandering. "It's just 1 month," she told herself. "Only 4 weeks of break. It should be fine." But deep down, she wasn't sure if she was fine with not seeing him for a whole month. Her eyes drifted outside, and there he was, standing in the sunlight, laughing with friends near the courtyard. The girl's heart skipped, but this time, something else stirred, a sudden burst of courage and determination. "Today, I'm going to introduce myself." She didn't know where the bravery came from, but it filled her chest, steady and bright. An idea sparked in girl's mind, quick, bold, impossible to ignore. Her eyes scanned the classroom. Aha! One of her classmates is standing by the corner, a mop in hand, looking like she'd just finished cleaning the floor. She rushed over. "Hey, are you done with the mop?" she asked, trying to sound casual, though her heart was already racing. Her classmate blinked, confused. "Huh? Yeah, I guess. It's fine." Before the girl could say more, she offered quickly, "I'll wash it for you." Her classmate tilted her head, visibly puzzled by her sudden eagerness. "Huh? It's fine, really." Then she gently grabbed her hands, eyes wide with determination. "Please, seriously, I'll handle it." Still looking confused, her classmate slowly let go of the mop. Okay? Thanks, I guess." The girl smiled, gripping the mop like it was her ticket to fate itself. But before leaving, she made sure her ponytail is properly in place, making sure it was neat, no stray strands. "It's prettier when it's tied up," His voice echoed in her head, sending a fresh wave of nerves through her chest. As she descended the stairwell, her heart thudded hard, not just from the nerves but from the heavy, anxious flutter building beneath her ribs. Her feet kept moving, one step at a time, the sunlight growing brighter as the doors came into view. She wasn't wandering aimlessly, she had a plan. He always goes to the water fountain after practice. The girl clutched the mop tighter as she stepped outside, her gaze drifting toward the familiar spot near the field. Sure enough, Han Sung-yeon stood there, taking a drink. This was it. Her nerves twisted, her heart pounding so loud it echoed in her ears. But today, she was finally going to introduce herself.
Unaware of the girl's hidden feelings for him, Sung-yeon leaned against the water fountain, the cool water dripping from his fingers. It had been weeks ago, but the memory stuck stubbornly in the back of his mind. It happened during one of their soccer games, just a typical afternoon. He was chasing the ball across the field when his eyes flicked up, scanning the surroundings out of habit. That's when he saw her, the sun bright overhead, and as he looked up toward the second-floor windows, he'd caught sight of someone staring down at him. A girl. For a second, their eyes met. Her whole face froze in panic, eyes wide, and then the color rushed to her cheeks so fast it was impossible not to notice. Flustered, she ducked down, disappearing from view with the quick swish of her ponytail following behind her. But it wasn't just the ponytail that stuck with him. It was all of it. The shy panic in her eyes, the way her face flushed pink, her awkward, hurried movements like she didn't know what to do with herself. For some reason, it reminded him of a small, nervous pony, a little too cute for its own good, and the thought completely threw him off. So much so that, distracted by her, he didn't even see the ball flying his way. Thud. It smacked straight into his head. Ever since that day, his eyes had a habit of following her, not intentionally, but every time he caught a glimpse of her from behind, with her ponytail bouncing lightly as she walked, it pulled his attention. In the hallway, near the courtyard, in passing crowds, his gaze always drifted her way before he even realized. Tomorrow marked the start of summer vacation. A whole month without school, without random glimpses of her passing by. The thought unsettled him more than he wanted to admit. He didn't even know her name. I should just ask, he thought. Then movement near the fountain snapped him back to the present. A familiar girl approached, gripping a mop like it was her only shield, her steps uncertain yet determined. Panic flared. Before his brain could process it, his body reacted. He ducked his head down immediately, turning away like a startled kid caught red-handed. Fool, he muttered under his breath, scolding himself, heat rushing to his face.
The girl, unaware of Sung-yeon's hidden feelings, walked slowly toward the water fountain, each step feeling heavier than the last. I must have gone crazy, she thought, gripping the mop tighter. Absolutely lost it. What was she even going to say? Her heart was already pounding so loudly it echoed in her ears, and her mind was completely blank. She was getting closer, too close to back out now. Quickly, think of something, her brain screamed. Something that won't be awkward even if I just randomly start a conversation. Her steps faltered, nerves tangling up her thoughts. Lift your head, now! Her inner voice snapped. The opportunity is right in front of you. Do you really want to miss it? Meanwhile, just a few steps away, Sung-yeon stood frozen, head lowered, trying desperately to calm his racing heart. Excuse me.
The moment the sound of her voice reached him, he froze. His mind blanked. He hadn't expected her to actually say anything. Panic flared, his body reacted on instinct, and without thinking, he shot his head up. Bang. His head smacked right into the metal faucet. Ah! A sharp sting spread across the back of his head as he immediately crouched down, hand flying to his head. Ouch.
The girl's heart nearly stopped when she saw him crouch down, holding his head with both hands, clearly in pain. Without thinking, she rushed toward him, the mop slipping from her grip and clattering onto the ground as she closed the distance. She knelt down beside him, her voice coming out hesitant but sincere. Are you okay?
Sung-yeon winced, the dull ache in his head pulsing harder than his racing heart. Acting on pure instinct, he reached out blindly, needing something to steady himself, and his hand landed on her arm. It took him a second to realize what he was holding. Their eyes met, wide, startled, frozen in the moment. Both their faces flushed deep red, heat creeping from their cheeks to the tips of their ears. The second realization dawned on him. Sung-yun jerked his hand back like he'd been shocked, stumbling slightly as he backed away with visible panic in his expression. His heart raced, his mind scrambled. This was not how he imagined this going. But before he could even speak, the girl suddenly burst into laughter. It spilled out uncontrollably, light and breathless, the absurdity of the moment breaking through her nerves. Sung-yun blinked, startled, but as he watched her laugh, really laugh, his own flustered tension cracked. His lips curved and soon, helpless, he joined her in a fit of laughter. It took a minute for both of them to settle down, wiping away the last traces of their giggles, still breathless but lighter than before. Their eyes met again, lingering, soft, sincere, and warm. Sung-yun exhaled, finding his voice. "We're in the same grade, right?" He smiled faintly, still a little embarrassed. "I'm Han Sung-yun. Can you tell me your name?"
And in that moment, with tangled nerves, laughter still in the air, and hearts racing, the girl realized it really was love at first sight.